Well, after a kind of lackluster online Olympiad 2021, Praggnanandhaa is back in full flow at the Challengers Chess Tour, Hou Yifan Challenge, where he is crushing the competition. Just to show you his performance, it's a massive 3200 plus performance. He has scored 9 out of 9, beating players like Balaji, Vaishali, Zuzhiner, Sokolovsky, Letingye, Awonder Liang, Murzin, Kiolbasa, and Mamadzada. And he has been playing phenomenal chess. Right now, Pragg has a lead of 2 points, but it's slightly misleading because Vincent has already got one bye. You see, there are odd number of players, so he's already got one bye, so he's on 7 out of 8. While Pragg is 9 out of 9, he will get a bye later on. So actually, it's quite a close battle between Pragg and Vincent. But right now, Praggnanandhaa has a 100% score. Now, I had to choose one game out of these 9 games, and there were many interesting ones. But I decided to choose the one between two old rivals, I would say, and calling them old is a little bit it is funny because they are so young. They are so I think Pragg is what 2005 and Awonder is maybe 2003. So the difference in, like, they are very young, but they have played. I think the first time that they played each other was in World Juniors. No, in 2017 they played a match against each other in St. Louis. There was two games they played. Then they played in World Juniors in 2017, that same year. And then Sitges Open, and then they played in Polgar Challenge, Gelfand Challenge, and they have been trading wins against each other. And last game that was played was between them at the Online Olympiad, where Awonder Liang won a very important game for Team USA, which kind of knocked India out. So Pragg was all raring for this game. He wanted to play well, so he opened the game with d4, and Awonder Liang went for the King's Indian. Now Praggnanandhaa's choice is interesting. He goes for bishop e2 and bishop e3 variation over here, e5, d5, and knight a6. Generally, what white players do here is go for the move g4 with the idea of h4, h5. But Pragg went h4. He wants to directly open up with h5, knight c5. And now an important move. He went queen c2. It's very natural to think that you can defend with f3. But the problem with this move, I will leave it up to you right now to pause this video and figure out what is a good move for black to play. So what happens is that whenever you go f3, a very natural move in the King's Indian is knight h5. Because now this bishop cannot take the knight, and secondly, if you kick the knight away, it will settle down on the f4 square, and many times even this pawn sacrifice, if the queen was on d2 and you lose this pawn, it's fine because this bishop opens up. So Pragg played queen c2, and only when Awonder went h5, he played the move f3. Now you see knight h5 is not possible. Subtle points in the opening. a5 was played here, and now knight to h3, c6, knight g5, the knight sits on a good square there, bishop d7. And here I was surprised with Praggnanandhaa's decision. I mean, here generally you would long castle, park your king on b1, and then go for g4 pawn break, opening up the king and going for an all-out attack. But Pragg changed his track and castle short, although not completely illogical. It's a more positional way to play. CD, CD. And Pragg also says that, okay, although his pawn is slightly advanced and there are weaknesses around his king, he feels that his space advantage in the center gives him stability and does not have to worry much. Rook c8, queen goes to d2, knight e8, rook a c1, improving the position, queen e7, and now just b3. So I like how Pragg is playing. He's telling black that do what you want to do. I'm ready for it. An idea could be to play f6 here, but it does not work because of knight e6 pawn sacrifice. Let's say you take, pawn takes, bishop takes, and now knight d5. And this is what Pragg is waiting for. He's attacking the queen, and after queen f7, you take, bishop to c4. White, white is doing really well. Also, you can chop off the pawn on a5. So what Awonder did is he first played the move b6, supporting his pawn, and now slowly preparing f6. I think it was at that now first knight b5, good move by Pragg. Knight c7, trying to exchange, and once again it's your move. Try to pause the video and figure out what would you do here as white. So if you exchange, it's not so great because your knight was better. You have to realize that the c6 square is weak and this bishop is an important one. So the move is knight a7. You want to come to c6. Rook a8, now knight c6, attacking the queen, queen e8, and bishop to c4. So Pragg is ready that if you take here, I'll take, and now my bishop is beautifully positioned. And after f4, white is calling the shots here because pressure on f7 intensifies. So king h8 was played in the game, and now here Pragg, I think, went wrong. He played the move b4, which made the position very, very complicated. He could have played a very nice move, king h2, because he's preparing for f6. Now knight e6 is not a good idea because after this you are losing a piece. Here this is hanging, so you have to go back, and now after bishop h3 you can take with the king but also with the pawn. And the point being that now g file can be used to attack the g6 pawn. So king h2 was a useful prophylactic move, but Pragg went b4, takes, b5, good move by Awonder, takes here, and now knight to b5, queen b5. If you take on a2 for now, that's not really good because after take, and rook c5, white is clearly better. So therefore, first f6, pushing the knight away, had to go back, bishop h3, gh3, and now the position is very, very complicated because the white king is slightly exposed. You can't go to h2 because rook a2 comes with a check. So bishop c5 was played, had to take here. You can't take the h3 pawn because bishop f2 is possible, although this is quite a worthy sacrifice. After f5, black has counterplay here for the piece, but he took back, queen takes, queen h3, queen came back here. I think rook c2 was a better move, but queen f2 very natural, defending a2 and h4, and here bishop h6, good move by Awonder, hitting the rook, rook c3, trying to stop all these bishop e3 checks. And here again, pause the video and figure out what should black do here. Black to play. In fact, black has now got the initiative firmly in his grasp. The knight looks kind of misplaced. What is a good move here? If you thought and you figured out the move rook g8, kudos to you. The idea is to play g5 and open up against the king. I think Pragg would have played queen g2, and then Awonder can go back, preparing bishop f4 and g5, or directly g5. And black is doing very, very well here. He played f5, but I think he just missed that he's losing a pawn here with knight e5. And this is where Awonder, I think, flipped out. He thought for nearly a minute here under time pressure. And he had to defend this g6 pawn somehow, maybe with rook f6 or rook a6 defending this. But he went fe4, but after check, takes, rook c7, check here, and check here. The queens were traded, and Pragg is not only an exchange up, but also a couple of pawns up, and this is where Awonder resigned. Praggnanandhaa had won. What an intense game between these two youngsters. And today, Praggnanandhaa will take on stronger players, stronger opponents. He is going to face Christopher Yu, Vincent Kemar, and Abhimanyu Mishra. and I think also Leon Mendonca. So it's going to be an exciting day for Pragg. And we'll see. There are other Indians in the fray as well. Leon Mendonca is on number 5 position. Aditya Mittal on number 6. Vaishali on number 10. So all the Indian players doing pretty well. For now, this is Sagar Shah signing off. Bye bye.